confused, everyone.
Let's get dangerous.
This is so cool.
I know.
It feels so right.
Jake silly.
I'm sorry, who is this?
Nice try, Moonman. Pretending not to know. Earth's greatest mastermind.
You just made the list.
I thought you said that was a myth.
Just because it's a myth doesn't mean it's not true.
If you all blindly follow my plan, we may have a chance.
Sure, we talk about it all the time.
Really?
No, burn.
Game on, you Ducks. All right, you ready? I told you I would do positional kind of notes for players since I don't really have those in the rankings widget. And yeah, just going to go 10 minutes and see how many we can get through. And we're going to start with quarterback. You don't need to know about Lamar, Jaden Daniels, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow. Baker Mayfield, I still have at the top of tier 3, even though there's some risk of regression without Liam Cohen. Justin Fields doesn't need to pass well. 1,000 rushing yard upside with 16-plus games, especially if he plays 17. And the last time he actually played 15, he was QB 6 overall and in points per game. So I am willing to gamble on the rushing upside, just as if Anthony Richardson was the full-time starter for the Colts, which we'll talk about the Colts soon. Bo Nix behind him is Bo Nix. I actually think he is somebody of the second-year quarterbacks who could make that leap and get into the Jaden Daniels tier. If he runs a little bit more and takes another step forward as a passer, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. Caleb Williams, there's been good talk, bad talk, back and forth about the Bears so far with Ben Johnson. He's somebody that I'm willing to gamble on his upside for being top 10, and I would take in front of Kyler Murray, who is just Kyler Murray at this point, and he doesn't run like he used to. Dak Prescott, who has to do it all with his arm, but I'm willing to take as a fringe QB1 because of the upside if he's healthy with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. Brock Purdy, I expect a little bit of a bounce back. Drake May has a ton of rushing upside for the second year, actually the most rushing upside of the second-year quarterbacks not named Daniels. He could run for 800 yards and 8 touchdowns on the ground. And if so, 707 got Daniel Jones to be a QB1 with not even throwing a touchdown per game. So that's why I would take the chance on Drake May, even with terrible wide receivers and a question mark about Diggs' health. I still gamble on the potential and have him at 14. CJ Stroud, similar to Dak Prescott, I expect the bounce back, has to do it all with his arm, but I do think things will be better this year, especially with a healthy Nico Collins. Jared Goff, again, all with his arm. There's a question mark of whether or not he'll be as good without Ben Johnson. And look, QB 16, you either love that rank or hate it seems. Jordan Love, another bounce back player I love a lot. Let's remember, he was hurt almost to start the season last year in 2 different injuries. Has Matthew Golden as his one, finally has a true one, although I would call him more of a 1B in NFL terms. We're not talking wide receivers, we're talking quarterbacks. Anyway, Jordan Love the upside potential for a bounce back, love the late round sleeper potential for him. Trevor Lawrence, this is the year. If he can't do it with Cohen, can't do it with Travis Hunter as his number 2 wide receiver, then the biggest bust, or one of the biggest busts of all time. I think Jamarcus Russell still has that title and will keep it for all of eternity. But Trevor Lawrence is getting close to there for somebody who is supposed to be a generational talent. Justin Herbert. I know everybody hates how low he is in the rankings, but he's not the same quarterback for the first 2 years as in what he's going to be asked to do. He's not going to throw 600 times. Yes, I know I like Trey Harris. Yes, Keenan Allen is back, but that's just not what the offense will be. I think this is somebody who falls into the C.J. Stroud, Dak Prescott territory, and if you think that's too low and you want to put him up with those names, I have no problem with it. J.J. McCarthy's at 20. I know Kevin O'Connell's the quarterback whisperer and all that type of stuff, but similar to the situation with Herbert, I don't know how much they're going to put on his arm. I don't think he'll be throwing for 600 times. 550 might be a good range, and hey, he's got talent, but he doesn't have Addison for the first 3 games. I know TJ Hawkinson's a great tight end, but just a lot with McCarthy. How much is he going to run too? If he runs for 500 yards, then screw it. This is too low anyway. But it is a big question. I just don't know how much we're going to see from J.J. McCarthy and what is truly his rookie season, so to speak. Bryce Young at 21. This one, I want to put Bryce Young higher. Finished great, but still not going to be a huge A-dot. Still somebody who does better in the short to intermediate area of the field. The running upside was intriguing if he's going to start to call his own number for the rushing touchdowns. But is that going to carry over to this season? 21, this is going to either be too right. This is not going to be too right. This is going to be too high or too low. I do not think Bryce Young is finishing as QB1. Cam Ward behind him, yes, I'm taking the gamble. I do think he will run. I do think he'll run as a rookie, and I think he'll have a higher A-dot and take more aggressive shots downfield than Bryce Young. I think Cam Ward, honestly has top 15 upside. If I miss on McCarthy as a gamble, Jordan Love, even Bryce Young, Cam Ward has ended up in a few of my teams. Geno Smith is probably the safest of the QB2s, probably too low at 23, but I just never shoot for QB 16 or 17. I don't want QB 16 or 17. I want a QB who can finish top 10, potentially top 5. Baker Mayfield last year. Do we really think Geno Smith is going to pull a Baker Mayfield with the Raiders? I don't, and you can hate me for it. Tua Tagovailoa, that's the epitome of QB 16 or 17, but there's also injury risk on top of it. Michael Penix, 25. Michael Penix has to do it all with his arm. He has Matthew Stafford upside, but again, Matthew Stafford doesn't have that many QB1 top 10 finishes. And as much as I can get excited about Penix and think he has a lot of Matthew Stafford to his game, he has to throw for 4,500 yards and 30-plus touchdowns to get to the QB1 territory. So that's why he's down there with Sam Darnold. Daniel Jones even being announced as a starter. I don't think he's the starter for the entire year. I actually think Steichen's trying to lose his job, because how do you go to Daniel Jones over Anthony Richardson and just not see? We know who Daniel Jones is. There were some signs that Anthony Richardson was starting to look better, and actually signs and subjectively and objectively, whatever way you want to call it. In the preseason, he was making smarter throws, and then, of course, has a 1,000-yard rushing upside. I don't get it. But, hey, Daniel Jones is the starter ahead of at least Matthew Stafford because he has that running ability. If Daniel Jones does start all 17 games, this is going to be too low because he will run 600-700 yards and some touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers, bleh. Russell Wilson, he's going to lose the job at some point. Anthony Richardson would be the first non-starter I take the chance on. Ahead of Spencer Rattler, who might not even be the starter, might be Tyler Shook, who's behind him, including Joe Flacco. How long is he the starter? And then down from there, Sanders, Dart, Milroe, and the rest. I have time, so let's see if we can slam in tight ends. Maybe this will be a one-episode quarterback and tight ends. Bowers, McBride, Kittle, Tier 1. You don't need to know anything about them. Kelsey is alone in Tier 4. I think he has a chance to be a bounce back, especially if Rice is suspended 4, 6, 8 games or whatever it might be. He's kind of in the island of his own. And after him, Njoku, it'd be great while Flacco's out there. If they turn to Dylan Gabriel, it might be a little bit of a question, but I still will take the chance on David Njoku as one of the top 3, if not top 2 pass-catching options for the Browns. Mark Andrews, I did not have this high, but with Isaiah Likely injured to start the season, I will take the chance that second half season of Mark Andrews last year carries a bit, maybe not to that level, but at least carries over this year, especially for the touchdowns. Sam Laporta and TJ Hawkinson are exact same situation. They are the third option behind 2 great wide receivers. I'm not really chasing either because of where you have to take them if they fell to the 9th round. Cool. Hawkinson maybe a sell high after the first few games with Addison out. Tucker Kraft I think is intriguing because he could be the number 2 or at least the number 3, but could be the number 2 with all the injuries to the wide receivers for the Packers. Actually, that continue to happen. Evan Ingram's usage has been weird, and I continue to say that he needs 100, 110 targets to really reach the top 10, and I don't know if he's going to get there, but I'll gamble on him because of the half and full point PPR. If he does, Jake Ferguson bounce back along with Dak Prescott. Kyle Pitts, I know you're just skipping right past him, but hey, Darnell Mooney's injured to start the season. Kyle Pitts is essentially free. Kyle Pitts might finally do it with Penix. I'm just taking the chance. One spot in front of Tyler Warren. It comes down to, I actually moved Tyler Warren up with the Daniel Jones news. I was a little bit cooler on him with Anthony Richardson, and we'll talk about the wide receivers when we get to them. Dallas Goedert is essentially that Tua Tagovailoa of tight ends. You're going to get a fringe QB one, a fringe tight end one on his production. Hunter Henry could be the top option for quite a while for the Patriots with the things that are going on over there. Dalton Kincaid is just not going to happen, unfortunately. Dawson Knox still out there. They use way too many 2 tight end set. And if you want to say you don't want Dalton Kincaid and take some of the names behind him, I'm okay. Immediately behind him is Brenton Strange, who I think could be the 3. Essentially, Brenton Strange feels like the Laporta or Hawkinson at a significantly deeper discount. And if Travis Hunter falters, which I don't think he will, but he could potentially be the number 2. Speaking of, Mason Taylor is right behind him for me for the Jets, who could be the number 2. And if you go to Justin Fields' ability and what he likes to do in the red zone, go back to Cole Kmet's big touchdown season, Mason Taylor could be that for the Jets. One spot in front of Colston Loveland, who I think is just buried on that team with the wide receivers, and including trying to get past Cole Kmet. And then Darren Waller, maybe he suits up, and if he does, take a flyer at 20. After him, I think Jonathan Smith's going to be sharing too much with Pat Freiermuth and back into that frustrating Arthur Smith situation. Isaiah Likely, like I said, was higher, but he's banged up. Zach Ertz, K-Dot, and you know them. Theo Johnson, I think, is a deep sleeper breakout tight end. And then down from there, Jatavian Sanders would be the other one that I think is a deep sleeper tight end. And then you have some rookies, Mike Gesicki, do not draft Bengals tight ends. And that's 10 minutes. We're out of time. Running backs next. I can't believe I got quarterbacks and tight ends in the same podcast. But hopefully that gave you enough notes on all these rankings to go over to The Athletic and check them out. And yeah. Oh yeah, Madden codes. I'm going to be giving them away next episode or the one after that. Haven't decided yet. So don't forget, rate, review, subscribe, tell your friends, tweet about it. Make sure you get your entries for a potential free Madden code. I love you guys. Goodbye till next time.